Micklow, and I'm here with Jesse and Roger from the Aggrolites. How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
All right, good.
It's going good.
Erin?
I'm good, thanks.
All right.
You guys have a new album coming out this year, but it's been 7 years since your last album was released back in 2011. Why the long wait?
I mean, it's kind of like we want to get it right. You know, we haven't released something in so long, like you said. So it's kind of, you know, we've had a certain style. We started off with a certain style, the dirty reggae style, and you can kind of hear the progression, you know, for better or for worse. And so with this album, we're trying to just go back to that original sound, you know, that OG way of writing, way of recording, way of performing, you know what I mean? So I'm super excited for this because I think our fans that have been with us all these years, they're going to really be stoked on the album.
And it's going to be about 14 songs, and it took about 6 months to write each song. So
yes,
that
so
equals,
yeah, we've
about
been writing
7
this.
years.
We've been writing this album for 7 years now. So
yeah.
no,
We do
no,
hear it,
no,
though.
no.
It sounds
it
like
was
it's
effortless
epic.
writing, which is what we wanted. We wanted to just get together and not make it seem like a job, not make it seem like it's work. And so far so good. You know, we've been in the studio. We're about I don't know, about 50% done recording because we still have some things to add and whatnot. But we've recorded a lot of the meat already. So I mean, we're excited. Jesse's excited. I'm excited. The band's excited. We just
And
want
another
people
cool
to hear
thing,
this.
we've been recording this at Roger's studio. He's got a studio that he had just put together.
Yeah.
And,
I'm trying to do the thing, you know, And so I think we understand our music, what it should sound like more than any other like random engineer that we go work with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We understand what we want the drums to sound like, the bass to sound like, the keyboards, Jesse's voice, you know, stuff like that. And so it's kind of like a baby you nurture, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm glad it's in-house, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you have full control over everything.
full control, yeah.
But when you start working on a new album, what's the process? Do you have a routine?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you just get together. That's with this album. We wanted it to be effortless, so it was this whole, just no stress, no pressure. Come up with ideas, you know. Just like anybody writes a song, I guess you come up with the song ideas and then you get together and collaborate, you know, and let it mature from there. So I mean, there's really no routine. I mean, it has to feel like fun. If it starts feeling like work or like, all right, we have this on our checklist. This is checked. Then you're not gonna get the magic out of the music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of bands do that, and you can hear it in their music. It's like, all right, it just sounds fake, you know what I'm saying?
We've kind of, when it came to songwriting, the process over this last so many years and all the different albums we've done, we've pretty much done every single way of, like, from a single guy writing a song to an entire band just getting in a room and making up a rhythm on the spot. So, I mean, there's all different kinds of ways that people have routine. I guess the best way to answer that for me is saying we don't really have a routine. Our routine is not having a routine. And just taking it easy, taking it slowly, not being pressured. There's no like, you have to have an album out every year. You have to do this. You know.
Yeah.
There's nobody pushing
yeah.
us. There's no. We don't have a label yet. There's nothing. We just want to record an album, take our time, have a good time doing it, and when the album's done, then we're gonna look around for what we want to do next. So
Yeah.
Totally.
that's.
So are any of these songs ready enough for you to play tonight in your live set?
You know what? I mean, that's a good question. I don't think we've even tried to humor that possibility yet. I think so, but we haven't rehearsed them. So it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, you know, we actually are going to be revamping our set soon, you know what I mean? And kind of playing tunes we don't regularly play. So I think at that moment, it'll be a good opportunity to kind of inject some of these newer songs, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
for
tonight
sure.
will be like, you know, all the fan favorites, you know, all the tunes that people sing along to, you know. We get a nice census of what tunes people gravitate towards, you know, the Mr. Miseries or the Funky Fire or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll just continue to do that and then inject the newer stuff.
I've seen a bunch of your fans asking on Instagram for you to come back to their towns and play. Do you have a tour planned for this new album to promote it?
Nothing.
Nothing
Absolutely
yet.
zero.
Yeah.
Zero, zero, zero. I mean, it's like just step by step kind of thing. So the album And then the next domino to fall would be just, setting up tours. I think since we haven't put an album out in so long, we've just done pockets of things. Like, for example, we did a Texas run, or, we'll do one-off shows for festivals and whatnot. But now with a new album, I think that there'll be, a better plan to like do a U.S. tour or go back to Europe, European tour. Yeah.
Coming out with a new album is just more opportunity. So there's going to be a lot more opportunities for us to get out there and hit different cities that we haven't hit in a few years now, because it has been,
it's been a while, man. I mean, there's some
I mean,
places we haven't been to in a long while, and you can see the hunger online when people are posting and people are, and it's like
you misspelt Boston, or you post like Aggrolites at the Pasadena, the Bros tonight.
Oh yeah,
you misspelled Houston.
Houston, yeah.
I know that joke.
You're like, man,
it's been a long time.
And we love
Houston.
it. We love all the cities that we've been to in the past. We were touring. We were touring so hard for a moment that we would do a U.S. tour, and then you'd see like Boston and then be back in Boston a month later, So we miss that kind of hustle bustle, and I think we'll get out there. Well, we're getting a little older, so we're not gonna like,
do it old man
we're
style
gonna do it old
this
man
time
style.
We're not gonna be
we'll
the
do it
party
with some
animals.
Metamucil. We'll have Metamucil and like some
some Ensure.
Yeah, Ensure.
Plenty of Pedialyte.
We'll have walkers on the side of the stage.
Is that Pedialyte that's for adults? No.
It's for babies.
Wow.
Or hungover people.
Or you can mix that with vodka.
I think anyone could drink Pedialyte. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
I'm tired of the babies taking the Pedialyte.
Yeah.
Man, it's like share the wealth, babies.
They have an adult version though, don't they?
I don't know.
I think anyways.
I don't know. I don't drink that
That's got
shit.
nothing to do with us. All right.
So, DELA from Slightly Stoopid just released his debut solo album, and you guys played on that album and are playing your next few shows with him. How did you guys get together?
Well, Slightly Stoopid and our band, they've invited us on some tours with them. But we probably starting back in 2010.
Yeah, I'm bad with years, but we did a tour with
So-
them, and it was downhill from there. I mean, first of all, we knew nothing about them, and I'm not sure if they knew anything about us, But after that tour, it was like an instant bond because we respect them as musicians. They're the coolest dudes to hang out with, and then I think we were kind of a change up. We live in a world now where there's a million reggae bands that are playing a certain style of California reggae, and Aggrolites is like, that one in a million band that's kind of choosing to hone in on a certain era of Jamaican music. So I think that kind of stood out, and it's a testament for itself. It's like we were homies with every single guy in the band. So I mean that led to DELA. I know that I couldn't speak for him, but I know that he had us in mind as like the backing band to paint this picture that he wanted to do. He wants a solo album, amazing music, amazing songwriting, and we were all stoked to be a part of it. Because it kind of like took us out of our box a little bit. We do this thing, we do dirty reggae, we do funky, gritty, old school reggae, and doing a project like this, it was very enlightening. We had so much fun in the studio. It was so crazy. It was so much fun. Like whenever I think of doing the DELA record, it's just fun, and that's what music should be. As long as you're hitting the right note.
What was the recording process like working on that album?
We did in San Diego, right? Pretty straightforward process. We all got together. DELA had shoot us over some demos, and we went for it. And then of course when you get in the studio, it's like you start to mold the project a little more. It starts getting closer. But yeah, I think we did it in 2 days.
Yeah, it was
2 days or something.
It was definitely 2 or 3 days total, but it was a lot of fun. He had given us demos that they had him and a guy named Carl Denson. Carl Denson,
Not a guy, the famous Carl Denson.
Carl Denson he's from his group is called Carl Denson's Tiny Universe, but he played with all the big, the big.
He's playing with the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones.
He's
right
like
now.
the Rolling Stones
He's a sax player,
so that gives you an idea.
So yeah, but,
Lenny Kravitz, all kinds.
They had recorded a lot of songs on their computers or demos. They had sent to us, but they gave us the freedom in the studio to kind of play in our own style a little bit, but it was great learning, from a horn player's perspective, and like DELA was explaining the record as exotica, and it's really jazzy, and us playing, like Roger was saying, like the dirty, gritty, like funky soul reggae kind of thing. Yeah. A lot of it's really simple 2-chord progression, and it's more rhythm, you know. And so it was cool learning like how this guy writes, you know, and learning his I don't know. It was interesting and very awesome.
Yeah, it challenged us for sure. It was a good project.
So you guys
Challenged us. That's what I was looking to say.
Challenged
Great. You summed it up.
Okay.
It was very challenging.
We were challenged.
because it was something that we never had touched. So it was awesome to learn. Yeah, to have that challenge. It was cool.
That's awesome.
Yes.
From challenges comes growth.
Yes.
So
And how good they were to us while we were in the studio was awesome as well. Rather than being like, do it this, you know, it was like, oh, cool, you know. It was family. We've known DELA for years, and you know, we're playing tonight with him here, and we got some shows coming up later on in the month with him. So this isn't the end of it. We're doing it live as well, so it's cool.
your guys' sound is inspired by skinhead reggae. In your opinion, why are skinheads and reggae music tied together?
Well, I mean, it's not really an opinion as that it's a matter of like the history of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those musical genres that it is what it was. You know what I mean? That whole 1969, 1968, you know, Jamaican immigrants moving, and it's like a crazy story if you think about it. You know what I mean? Like moving in and mixing in with like the UK youth. You know what I mean? And the whole skinhead thing. And I was joking with some cats yesterday. I had a DJ gig, and I was with a couple of guys came out, the Slackers and all these guys. And it was like we were telling each other, like, what other genre? You can't explain this genre to someone that doesn't understand. You're like, well, there's a bunch of guys with their heads shaven, the skinhead guys, and they're dancing around to some music that sounds like a broken down carousel, you know, like an organ circus. Because I love skinhead reggae, but it's so funny because it's so important to us that it doesn't come off like a goofy thing. It comes off like a super tough thing, you know. And it's just a reality, you know. That music was coming out of Jamaica, and I think that it's infectious. A certain group of people in this world get it, you know. Other people will hear it and go whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So the skinhead culture has always been tied to what we did. I mean, even before Aggrolites, we were in different bands playing skinhead reggae. So we definitely know and can see the appreciation people have for that music, how important it is for them. We were like all over the world. We'll be like in Finland or Helsinki somewhere, and you see like skinheads that are like literally in tears kind of thing, you know, like for us to come. And we're not even like old school Jamaican legends, you know. I think it's a testament to the music, how powerful it is, and it's never going to die, you know, like certain genres die and stuff, disco or whatever. And, you know, but like that old school ska, rock, steady, skinhead reggae is just always under the radar. It's always going to be, I love it. I love the subculture. Yeah, for sure.
I have the Trojan box sets, and I love them. It's really good listening music for when you're just chilling. You guys recently played some shows with Jakob Nowell, Bradley Nowell of Sublime's son. Was he anything like his father musically?
I mean, he's a talented mug, man. I mean, and his dad's a trip, right? Because you got all these bands trying to sound like Sublime, but Sublime didn't sound like a Sublime. Like they almost created a genre.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weird infusion of different characteristics. You got reggae elements, you got hip hop elements. His dad was a talented musician, and you can see that in Jakob. You know, it's only natural. You know, it's like he's doing a style of music that's kind of a little different than what his dad was doing. You know. But I think it's just as equal as far as merit and as far as like songwriting talent. You see what I'm saying? It's just a little different, you know. And who could blame him? I mean, I'm sure since birth he's just been sublime this, sublime that. You know, he kind of like, you know, you always don't like what your parents are into, you know.
Yeah.
But he that's not to say he doesn't like reggae. He loves reggae.
Yeah.
We went on that short run with him, and yeah, he's a really down to earth kid. He has the potential to be think about it. Your dad's Brad. You can be a snobby. He's a down to earth, cool guy. Trust me. Yeah.
That's cool.
Totally. I concur.
So, Jesse, you have such a beautiful singing voice. Did you have any professional training growing up?
My sister was the going to play, being in plays and theater and all that stuff, and agents and that kind of thing, choirs, so on. So I was kind of like the little brother that would be in the at all the rehearsals that she'd have, and kind of would just get like, well, I'll just throw them on the stage too, you know. So I wouldn't say I never really took singing lessons or anything like that. Kind of just. I grew up musically with a musical family. My dad plays guitar. My uncle was in groups. My dad was in bands. So I just kind of grew up with music around the house my whole life. And as a child, my mom would always have me and my sister harmonizing, listening to the Beatles and a lot of like 60s, like just my mom was into all the old 60s, like, you know, British invasion kind of stuff. Yeah. And my dad was like all about the soul and Motown and all that kind of thing. So I grew up with a pretty wide range of music being played around the house, you know. And then my grandparents were totally into, like, you know, like the Mills Brothers and a lot of like old jazz, or, you know, my grandmother and all her 5 sisters used to sing, growing up their whole lives. So just always around harmonies and vocals my whole life. So that's about it. Yeah.
I saw on your Instagram that you posted around Christmas time a video with your mom singing, and that your mom like doesn't ever like to sing on camera.
My mom doesn't like to sing at all. My mom's never sang, really, and that's like the first time that anybody's ever even seen my mom sing. The funny thing is, she's actually for myself, she's the reason why I really started, I think, picking up with an ear, because of my mom. Yeah. I mean, I remember being 3 years old, 4 years old, my mom playing, particularly the Beatles, and listening to all the harmonies that John and Paul and George would always be doing. And that's kind of, you hear those harmonies growing up. My grandmother, whenever we'd sing like Happy Birthday to like my sister or anybody on their birthday, my grandma would always have to do the harmony of Happy Birthday. You know, there was never like the person just singing Happy Birthday. There was always the harmony. So you just grew up with it. Yeah, so my mom's not a singer, but she sings. She got a good voice. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, Roger, you also have an amazing stage presence. When you first got started, what made you choose the organ and keyboards as your instrument of choice?
I told myself I wanted to choose the weirdest, least popular instrument that grandmothers play.
And not just
you don't look like a grandma.
The grandmother organ, right? Yeah.
But you definitely don't look like a grandma when you play.
Oh, thank you.
You're so fast.
You know, that's it's a total testament to the music. You know what I mean? Like, if it was another genre, I mean, like, for example, every genre has their certain instrument that's kind of highlighted. Our bass player Jeff is an amazing, one of the best, if not the best, stand-up like bass players for like psychobilly music. You know what I mean? So with psychobilly music, it's like, all right, the upright bass player. You know what I mean? For like with the reggae we're doing, it's that same feeling, but like the organ is kind of highlighted and the spotlight's on that. So I mean, it starts with the love of the genre. So when I'm young, you know, and get into the music, and I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool, and then you want to be cool, so you're like, all right, let me learn how to play that, and it just like keeps going and going and going, and before you know it, you have like 8 full-size organs in your house. You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard instrument to collect because it's so freaking big. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, it's a crazy thing.
Of the Specials.
Oh, yeah,
the organ player of the Specials.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to tour with Madness years ago in 2005, and all throughout the UK. And Jerry Dammers was the DJ in between us and Madness. And one of the very last nights of the tour, if it might have been the last night when we took him back to his place. He needed a ride home, and we were just like, "Oh my God, we're taking Jerry Dammers to his place." You know, we're thinking we're gonna walk into like this crazy mansion.
It's flat.
This guy's flat is your typical, like, just nice, humble flat. But I mean, right when we're coming to the entrance of his doorway, he's got just like organs all in the stairway, you know, the stairwell, and there's organs just sitting in there. And then you go inside his little place, and he's just got wall-to-wall records from the floor up to the ceiling. You know what I mean? So, like he's saying, he's starting to turn into a Jerry Dammers now.
It is.
I go to his house, and he's got like organs all over the place.
place,
You go in the kitchen, you try to like get a glass of water. There's an organ right there.
There you go.
Nah, I'm just joking, but
And the one in the restroom shower. No.
So, in your music video for Reggae Hit LA, on the end of it, when you guys smashed that organ to pieces, whose organ was it, and did it hurt you to do that?
It was our organ, and it was out of commission because we would never do that to a fully functional organ.
Yeah.
we used to always tour with big piece of furniture organs. Like Roger would find them you'd find them at little old ladies' houses.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty
on
much.
Craigslist, but it's always
Yeah.
a trip when I go to the house and they're like, "What? This guy wants this organ?" You know what I mean? It's just,
They're not really a
weird.
portable kind of instrument, you know what I mean? They make portable, chopped organs and stuff, which he's bought those too. But for a long time, we used to just, lug that giant organ around.
Right.
And they don't last, the tubes would break and everything,
Yeah.
so they would only last for like one tour. So a lot of times there'd be the last day of the show, the organ's broken. We lucked out and got through the whole tour.
Right.
And we'd go find like a Ralph's, sorry Ralph's, but we'd find like a supermarket and just kind of just drop the organ behind the supermarket and take off.
I'm gonna laugh when we get arrested.
I'm just joking.
No,
We never did anything.
No, we never. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But anyways, so that organ was one of those obvious organs that just kind of didn't work anymore. And we were like, hey, you ever see a movie Office Space when they just break the thing? Yeah. I was like, let's do that kind of a scene.
It's kind of, I forget. Yeah, it was made for a good video.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Slow motion, things breaking and exploding. Everybody likes that kind of stuff, right?
Did you guys get tired after a little bit hitting it?
I remember when I thought I was going to get a good chunk, and it just went boom. I hit like the worst spot, and I felt so like, oh, man.
You don't feel like you're bashing it like Office Space is the printer. You could get a pretty good whack at a printer, and pieces will fly off. Those organs were made so great that you try hitting it, and it gets the best of you. You're like, oh, man. Your arms are all jacked up. You're not.
The organ was tough.
It was a tough one.
organ.
Who came up with the name The Aggrolites, and how did they come up with it?
Jesse came up with the name. Go ahead and describe it, Jesse.
That's a weird,
No, I'm joking.
the name just came about. I don't know exactly. There's so many stories.
There's so many stories, but it's like when the band first started, it wasn't even like a band. It was like a group of guys that got together and played cover songs live. Mm-hmm. And then, the magic of the first album happened, and I think that's around the time where it's like, oh, this is a band. So, I mean, the term aggro is such it's like the term bother or whatnot. It's such associated with the early skinheads and stuff like that. There's several skinhead reggae songs, like AGGRO by, it's on the Torpedo label, but I think the Bother Boys, I think that's the name of the group. So anyways, and then, like we always say the term lights, kind of Scotalites is a big thing. Whenever I think of lights, I think of Scotalites, Crystal Lights, and then American bands like the Shy Lights and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's one of those things that kind of rolls off your tongue, and we're stuck with it now. There's no turning back. So Aggrolites it is.
The era, like the skinhead reggae era. Aggro was a really popular term in those days. Lights was like a 60s tail end of a band name.
Right.
Scatalites, Shy Lights, the Crystal Lights.
And they didn't like I wanted the band to be called the Chimichangas, but they didn't want that. So
I think the Aggrolites is a better
I think
name.
it's better, yeah.
Well, I've been coming to the Aggrolite shows for 10 years now, so it was such an honor to talk to you guys tonight. Thank you so much. I fucking love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right, thank you.
This is cool. I like it.
All right, thanks, Erin.
Oh, group hug,
Thanks,
group
Joe.
hug. Oh, thank you.
Oh! What's up? It's Jesse with the Aggrolites, and you're watching Last Rockers TV.